somebody asked me this morning, earlier, they said, what was, out of everything that's developed, what was my practice or what was my daily routine? And I'm kind of I gave them a different answer. It was really what happened. And so, like, you know, as this thing began and I got sober, there was this trying to help people. And what it really meant at the beginning of me trying to help people was I put people around me, and then we were kind of competing. I think it was like, let's all do our lives. And then I want you to make your bed because I'm going to make my bed. And I became sort of I was so young. I was 37, and young for me now, but I was young and I was just starting a business and I didn't have anything. And I had all these sober houses, and I just became this reaction. So I was just a reaction to them. And so if they did something stupid, I got angry and yelled. And if they did something good, well, that was okay. I was happy. If they acted accordingly, I was okay with that. But for the most part, it was just them doing things that were out of character or not good or out of line, and then me reacting with anger. And about 3 years into that, I got tired of anger. I got tired of it, and I couldn't live that way anymore. I couldn't live at the time I was 3 years sober, and I had about 80 drug addicts living in houses that I was in control of. And it was maddening and it was frustrating. And I lived in that, and I was getting ready to burn up. And so I had to find some type of routine or some time to practice as a way to get over my anger. And I was always angry because out of 80 drug addicts, somebody was doing something stupid every day. All day. It was continuous. Somebody was getting high. Somebody was not paying. Somebody was lying. Somebody was stealing. Somebody was coming home too late. Somebody was doing something to damage themselves. And in all these cases, it was somebody doing a behavior that was detrimental to their life, and really left me in a scary position because I didn't want anyone to get hurt. And so I spent my life in anger. And then I started going on, and I found Eckhart Tolle, and I found Michael Singer, and I found these books that would allow me to develop compassion and softness, and allow me to forgive, and allowed me to get rid of my hatred. And I did that. I studied, and I went deeply into Buddhism, and I went deeply into, not deeply into Buddhism, but I read a lot of Buddhist material, and I listened to Buddhist speakers, and I went to Eckhart Tolle retreats, and I went to Landmark Forum, and I dove into how to get rid of anger, and how to forgive, and how to be compassionate. And that happened. And it led me to a place where I was no longer a reaction. I could kind of determine how I was going to be. I could sometimes be gentle, or I could sometimes be angry. It was dependent upon what I thought the person needed, really. And I was able to kind of control that. And I was able to stop being a reaction and kind of bottle myself up and be able to compose myself, and then come in front of somebody. And sometimes I felt they needed me to be stern, or sometimes I felt I needed to be, but it got very confusing, and it does get very confusing. And tonight I'm talking to the parents because, maybe you're still a reaction and you're learning how to not be a reaction. But as you go through the process of learning how to not be a reaction, there's going to be a big question. And the question comes up: when you can determine how you're going to be as a change agent, then how do you be? What is best for this other person? Well, now let's go back. And I remember when I was, and this week is kind of an extension of what's happened to make change difficult. Last week we talked about distractions, and we talked about how difficult it is for young people. And my recovery had these components that I see missing now. And so maybe you guys can look at it and see, is this in my recovery? Is it anywhere near my domain, or what's going on with me? So I go back to my childhood when I was in like third grade and fourth grade. I remember there was days where I would get sick, and sometimes I would get really sick. And what was great about being really sick was my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And it was awesome because I could stay at home with my mother, and she would cook me good food. And then she would let me turn on Price is Right at 10 a.m. And that show came on at 10 a.m. and I never got to see Price is Right. So I was excited about staying home sick from school. But as you do that a couple times and you realize what happens when you stay home from school is when you get back, you got all this schoolwork and you're behind. And so what starts creeping into that behavior, now you even get to the point as it gets really good and the Price is Right gets good, and then maybe some daytime soap operas with mom and, you know, maybe a little Family Feud or whatever else you get to watch that day. And you missed all that daytime TV. But then what ends up happening is you end up one day, you're not sick and you just want to watch Price is Right. So now you call in and, you know, you to put the thermometer up to put the thermometer right up to the thing and get to 101 real quick. I knew my mom knew I was, you know, sometimes it gets to like 104. They're like, oh, what the hell did you do? So, you know, I learned how to play sick. But what ended up happening was something started creeping in. Something started creeping into my playing sick. You know, the Price is Right would get over at 10:30 and the excitement and that was gone. And now all of a sudden there was something that showed up, like a little bit of guilt, a little bit of remorse, a little bit of shame, a little bit of these things that now I'm behind and, oh shit, tomorrow I'm going to catch up. And now then you start trying to remember, you're seeing what time of day it is and what the school kids are at and where they're at in their day. And, you know, now I'd be at lunch and then now I'd be in fifth period and this is going on. And all of a sudden now you start feeling like you're missing out. You're like, damn it, should have went to school. And that guilt was good. This guilt was good. This guilt, this remorse, this was a good thing. This feeling of shame, it was all a good thing back then for me. It was a serious motivator to make me not skip school. It was, in fact, the reason I didn't skip school. It was the entire reason, because along with the guilt, the remorse, and the shame also came consequences. And the consequences was I was still going to have to do the work. I was now just behind. So that vacation sucked. There's another thing that happened in my life that was this period of time in my entire life. My father and mother set it up perfectly. They pretty much told me no matter whether I was working, not working, no matter what, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday was work. That was it, period, flat, nothing. I don't care if you don't have a job. I don't care if you're in school. From 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., you're working. You're doing something productive. There's no movie time. There's no TV time. There's no fucking fun. That was what my parents did for me. I thank them for that. There is no fun from 7 to 4. There is nothing to do. You don't go take the day off and go to a baseball game. You don't at 1 in the afternoon. You don't go see a matinee. You just don't do that because it ruins Friday. It ruins Friday at 4 p.m. So Friday at 4 p.m., if you didn't put in that work week, then your Friday sucks and your Saturday sucks and your Sunday sucks. And it's ruined by the taking of the vacation. So that was another benefit. That was another thing that I thank my parents for doing. I thank them for that. I thank them for. So as I've looked at the difficulty of what you guys have to go through, what I've realized is we've gotten sick with compassion. So as I've now determined how to be, what I came to this conclusion when I arrived at this house was when I was yelling at somebody here or when I was frustrated with somebody here, they were actually doing something that was very bad and detrimental. And I'd learned over the time to have compassion. But what it ends up being is we have become sick with compassion. And this is for you guys to understand and for you guys to say, you're going to have to change it for your kids. You're going to have to change it for your environment, because we've gotten to this point where compassion has led to entitlement, where no longer, I remember this also, there was a thing called a second chance. That was it, guys. You got a second chance. And guess what? When somebody got a second chance, they were grateful. Thank you for the second chance. I get it. Now there's 19 chances. There's 100 chances. There's no such thing anymore as a second chance. And by the way, now the thing that's developed is the person who gives 8 chances and gets rid of somebody is the bad guy. In our society right now, anyone imposing any consequences of any kind is bad. Unless we're dealing with rape or murder or child molestation. Anything else, it's out of the question that somebody would get consequences. People should not get fired. There's always a reason somebody shouldn't get fired. They shouldn't get kicked out. They shouldn't get homeless. They shouldn't get anything. No consequences. Compassion has led to sickness. The pendulum has swung to the point where now people don't ask and hope for a second chance. They expect it. They demand it.
No, you're going to give me a second chance. And now anyone that's not giving 19 chances is a bad guy. Anyone that's not saying, hey, no, fuck off. You didn't do it. You got to go is a bad guy. So now you get to this point where you no longer, as a change agent, you don't know how to be. So now when I'm giving somebody 19 chances, I feel like the good guy. I sleep well. But maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I should be happy when I kick somebody out after the second chance because I might be doing them a favor. Maybe people getting fired on the second chance would learn. You know, we used to have this thing. It was a road, and on the side of the road was ditches, and the ditches was accountability, and that kept you on the road. You know, I knew in my drug addiction, I always had a sense of where my chances lie. I always knew what chance I was on, and I always knew how many I had left. I always knew. I knew with people how many I had left. I knew with the courts how many I had left. And I even, if I would go to the court or probation and I was on my third mistake, I even knew that it wasn't jail time yet. I even got to the point where it was like, nope, I've only done it 3 times. How many times did you screw up? You've done 4? Okay, I got one more chance. And this was a bad thing. And I need you guys to see it as a bad thing. This lack of accountability, these 3rd, 4th, 5th, 18th chances, this compassion that everyone has. Name somebody that faces consequences anymore for anything. Anything. High school students failing school, no consequences. Any consequences. Crimes, no consequences. Listen, guilt, remorse, shame, people want to take those away. They want people to get rid of guilt, remorse, and shame. If you want to get rid of guilt, remorse, and shame, stop doing bad shit. That's how you get rid of it. You don't just get rid of it. You don't get to do bad shit and then think everybody you shouldn't feel guilty. You don't get to lay around all day from 7 to 3 and be unproductive and not do your part and then not feel guilty. You don't get to sleep all day and have people pay your way and say, this is how it is. I don't feel guilty. You should feel that guilt. You should feel remorse. In a society that works for everybody, the only motto is do your part. That's the only motto that works for everyone. And we've developed this other motto. No consequences. So many people can't do their part. Everybody needs to lend a hand to the people that can't do their part. And in our society, especially in our state, the bad people are the ones doing their part. And the good people are the ones that aren't. And the bad people are the ones that are saying, hey, you can't live in my house rent free. I'm sorry. I go to work every day and I pay the mortgage. You're laying around here watching Netflix. You can't stay here. And now we're marginalized. We're saying, hey, no, you can't be a landowner in Washington State. They're going to get their stimulus checks and they're going to spend it on Amazon. And they're not going to pay the rent. And you as a landowner just got to sit there and take it. And I'm saying for you guys, don't want chances. They're no good for you. You need these ditches of accountability. You need these people in your life that are going to hold you accountable. They're the only people you should respect. The people that tell you to screw off. The people that tell you to no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Instead, we've demonized any consequences. We've demonized things like guilt. Why would you stop? Why do people stop eating chocolate cake for breakfast? Because they feel guilty afterwards. Why do people not go to vacation if they don't have the money? Because they feel guilty. Why do people stop smoking? Because they feel guilty for the harm they're doing for their body. Why do we stop any bad behavior? It's guilt. And you guys, we want to remove that? We should be looking for more of it. Guilt is what makes us change. We had a person come yesterday and felt very guilty for their relapse. Thank God. That's what makes you stop using drugs. If you didn't feel guilty for using drugs, wouldn't you keep doing it? If a man didn't feel guilty for cheating on his wife, he'd keep doing it. Say, this is great. I get to cheat on my wife and not feel guilt. Why are we trying to remove guilt, shame, remorse? These things are huge motivators for change. They make us stop doing this bad behavior. So as I've progressed in this whole thing, I realized yesterday that when I am trying to hold somebody accountable, I feel bad. And when I am trying to let people off the hook, I feel good. And I realize how backwards that is. I realize how sick that is. If I look back at any coach in high school that I respect, any teacher, it was the ones that held me most accountable. The ones that I want to thank for my life right now. That's the people that I look to. But now we have to, every time we hold anybody accountable, we've got to like try to forgive ourselves. Sorry, man. Sorry, I got to do this. Sorry. When the behavior is no longer highlighted. It's now, hey, go ahead. You screw up. You do anything wrong. And I'm sorry for having to punish you. And the only thing we even have, only when even going to jail for anything, we as a society, I guess we want to get child molesters, and we're real keen on making these people suffer. Well, who else? Who else? Anyone else can go and do a home invasion. Oh, he was on drugs. It's okay. No, he went into a house with a pistol, and the people that own that home go to work every day, and now for the rest of their life, they got to live in fear because a drug addict wanted to come into their house and do a home invasion and rob people. And now so the people can't sleep at night. But don't punish that guy. In fact, if the landowner wants to even do anything, shoot him, protect themselves, they're going to go to prison. We've gotten sick with compassion. And I am part of the same sickness. And I look back now and I see it, and I don't know how to reverse it. And I'm asking, and I'm saying, you guys, please, if you want change, then you want accountability. If you want change, you ask for it. You ask for it, you demand it, you respect it, and you honor it. If you want change, then you feel that guilt. Don't distract it away. Feel it. That's the thing telling you to do something different. That's the thing telling you to change. We are sabotaging ourselves. We are living in a way that we know is wrong. We know we're not living up to our potential. And then somebody told us it's okay. And somebody told us, don't worry about it. Don't feel guilty over it. You're fine. They were wrong. It's not okay. So you wake up, and self-worth means I'm living the way I know I should be. That's how you feel self-worth. Nobody else is going to give it to you. Nobody else is going to make you worthy. That thing in the mirror, that thing that you read every day that says you're amazing, you're great, that's not going to do it either. Put up the thing, look at it every day in the mirror. I'm amazing, I'm powerful, I'm great. No. If you're not living the way that you're supposed to live, and you know it, that's why you don't feel worthy. That's why. And if you're not living that way, it's okay. Just ask for this accountability. Get around people that will hold you accountable. Stay in the middle of those people. Make them tell you how to live. Don't go by yourself. Don't look at your pleasure-seeking thing. Yeah, I know you want to watch a movie at noon on a Monday. I know. It don't do you any good, and you're sabotaging yourself. I know everyone wants to go to the lake all week. I get it. But should we? Should we do that? Or should we earn the lake? Should we earn a weekend? Should we work hard so that our weekends feel like weekends? There was no better time in America than 3 p.m. on a Friday. Not in America. Back in the day, everyone excited. Now you can't tell the difference. Mm-hmm. You cannot tell the difference between Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You can't tell the difference. Mm-hmm. At 3 p.m. on Friday, the bank was hopping. Everyone was there with their check. The car washes were packed. People were washing their car. People had worked. They'd been productive. They'd been accountable. And now they want to have a little fun. And the fun was fun. Business before pleasure. So as I've went on in this thing, you know, if you've been with me on this journey over 7 years, you've known that we've talked about a lot of things. And we've talked about compassion, and we've talked about connection and love. And we've went through the whole gamut. And you know, I'm now learning what is effective for the people that I'm around to help them change, and how I have to be. And I adjust. And I wasn't holding people as accountable as I was before. I was using compassion, forgiveness, and that was my own practice. And then I got to a point where, how do I be? And now I spend my days wondering if my compassion is leading to entitlement. Am I not making people do for themselves what they're supposed to do for themselves? And are they now entitled to just be around, have chances, fail, be okay with it, and actually be angry when consequences are imposed? Actually be righteous and go, how dare anyone hold me accountable? But I don't get anyone. All my houses used to be filled with people on probation. Nobody's on probation anymore, guys. They don't have it anymore.
That's true.
They've just stopped probation. They've just stopped. They've just said, commit crimes. We don't care. No accountability, no probation, no reason to get better. It's a sickness. And it's what you guys are up against. Because without guilt, remorse, shame, what's going to make you change? Without motivation, everyone thinks that somehow people are just going to get inspired one day. They think inspiration is, yeah, it works. But real inspiration is when deep down in your soul, you feel how you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You feel in your body. And then somebody gives you the message of how to do it. That's inspiration. But what has to happen is guilt has to meet inspiration. Accountability has to meet inspiration. But without that, inspiration speaks, and then you watch TV. Inspiration speaks, and we go, yeah, that sounds great. That's interesting. But you got no engine of motivation. You got no back end pushing you. Because really, we as human beings need to be pushed. We do. How many of us would make our bed if it was left up to our own devices? Jesus, if we were here alone, would we even brush our teeth? Is this so bad for me? Sometimes when I'm not going to be with Ange, I'm like, oh, I don't need to shower there. Yeah, Oh, I'm not going to be with Ange today. I don't need to brush. I mean, seriously. I need motivation. It happens so quick. I need to feel guilt. Yesterday it was 4 p.m. I was dead set all day on eating right. At 4 p.m. I went right in there, grabbed the wavy lays, and went to work. And from 3:55 to 4 p.m., somehow I'm eating wavy lays and hot dogs when all day I was set. Now I need some accountability. I need somebody to help me. I obviously can't do it on my own. I need more guilt. I need more shame for what I did. I need people to do that for me. Hey, make me feel some shame. Make me feel some guilt, please. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm asking. And we can do that for each other. We can help each other motivate. We can be change agents by saying, here, what about accountability? What about the fact that people feel remorse after they've done something really shitty? And then you don't want them to feel that? What do you want people to feel after they do something really shitty? People do something really shitty, like go get a needle and shoot up in the bathroom at Safeway when there's kids around and there's people that need to use the bathroom. And we're supposed to not feel shame for that? I'm sorry, but being in a bathroom shooting heroin at a Safeway is a shameful thing. We shouldn't do it. Being in a park where people want to bring their kids and leaving a needle is a shameful act. You want the child molester to feel shame? You do. But why not the guy doing that? Why not the person doing the home invasion? What's different? Harmful stuff to society. So I don't know. I balance, and I know I bet these parents can agree with me that you just don't know how to be sometimes. You don't know how to be. You don't know whether to put consequences in, whether to make your kid feel guilty, whether to punish. You don't know. And we're trying to figure it out. But one thing I know is that people that want change need it. And you should be asking for it. You should be saying, hey, that's what made me go to school and get good grades. When I got to C, I felt bad. It needs to be. Oh, what's going on with high school where kids are just failing out over and over and over? What are we saying to these kids? This is okay? I mean, and these aren't kids that are struggling with school. These are brilliant kids failing out just simply because there's no accountability. No consequences. You're failing. Detention all week. Let's go. Come do school. Come be in here. You're going to sit in detention the entire week until you get your grades up. What's wrong with that? You're failing out of school. So what you're doing is you're going to come to the school every day until you're not failing. Am I missing something? It worked.
They make you come on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday school.
Yeah.
Summer school. Let's go. You can't fail. We're not going to let you. Instead, just, oh, we don't want to call our parent. We don't want to rock any boats. Maybe he's got problems. Yeah, they're getting worse. When you didn't show up for schools, I knew teachers that went to kids' houses. Showed up at the house. Why aren't you at school, man? Let's go. Get in the car. What is going on? I mean, really, and I'm just here to try to like say it's insane. And I hope you guys can see this no consequence thing is absolutely insanity. And even in our relationships, we learn. Don't be the bad guy and break up with someone. I've dealt with 4 or 5 people in coaching recently and a lot of cases recently where people are scared to break up because they don't want to be the bad guy. I was in a relationship. I was scared to break up. I didn't want to be the bad guy. And somebody like that ball coach that used to say anything, that used to call kids names, that used to like push people. He was revered back in the day. That football coach who was harsh. That football coach, even Bobby Knight. He was a revered coach. Yeah, he went a little too far. He threw a chair, ended his career. But still, how many people looked up to Bobby Knight? How many kids owe their life to Bobby Knight? I bet thousands. Everyone that played for him. They don't care that he threw the chair at the kid. In fact, they probably say the kid deserved it. Instead, he's fired, outcasted, thrown away. He's the guy making a difference. Who else is making a difference? Who else is actually making people change? It's tough work. When you're working to change other human beings, you're not liked. It sucks. It sucks. Anyways, I don't know how to be sometimes. And I don't know whether to impose, I don't know whether to have accountability be the thing or forgiveness be the thing. And I'm confused by society because I'm scared. I'm scared to hold people accountable and have people mad at me. And they are. Everyone here, if they find out some kid in my program is using drugs and it's not their kid, they want them kicked out. But if it's their kid, they want them to be able to stay. Well, there's no rules over
Did
there?
we freeze? Oh, is it just me?
Yeah, we're good here.
We're good here.
Yeah, her video is.
We'll wait.
There she goes.
Oh,
Are you back?
was it just me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm back.
That's the thing, and even parents. And I'll be honest with all of you. I mean, even parents, if I'm going to hold kids accountable here, they're real keen on me holding the other kids accountable here. But if I say, hey, your kid's on his last straw, I'm about to kick him out. No, he needs more chances. And I really want you guys to look at that because I remember being at a job, and I remember at a job, you got 1 second chance. That was it. And when they gave somebody a second chance, the whole company knew it. Did you see? Mike got a second chance. Now it's 45 chances, and if the company fires them, they got to face lawyers. Wrongful termination suit. They didn't do it right. We've went insane because of a few incidents.
We got the verbal warning, the written warning.
Yeah.
And then
Verbal written warning,
Second,
written
yeah.
warning, final written warning, second final written warning, last warning. Yeah. Mike, you touched Nancy's ass at work today. That's a verbal. Okay. What? No, actually, Mike will probably get no second chances for touching Nancy's ass. That doesn't go anymore. So You're out. Yeah.
Showing up late.
Oh yeah. Anyways, we can open it up to comments now. I'm done with it. Listen, last I can say, these kind of sometimes turn into my therapy because it's what I'm going through. And I'm going through feelings of guilt when I try to hold people accountable and feelings of happiness when I let people off the hook. And maybe that's just not right. Maybe it's backwards. Maybe I should be feeling real good at myself when I hold somebody accountable and real, because maybe I'm avoiding entitlement. What are you entitled to? Everything? Is there any behavior that excludes you from the group? Is there anything that we can say, and that's any group, society, anything. I know everyone says every company should give felons a second chance. Should they? I don't know. Would you do it at your company? Do you want to put your money in the hands of somebody who just got out of prison? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But we shouldn't demonize the guy if he doesn't. We should go, hey, that's his prerogative. He saw you did a home invasion. He doesn't trust you. I'm sorry. He saw that you were selling drugs and stealing. He doesn't trust you. You know what the lesson is there? Don't sell drugs and steal. It seems like that would be a proper lesson. Oh, you can't get a job because you took a pistol and went into somebody's house? Here's the lesson. Don't take a pistol and go into somebody's house. It might really help you in your life not to do that. So anyways, let's go with questions or comments.
This is such a good topic. I love it. All right, let's open it up, guys. So comments, questions, anything. Just raise your hand to get in line and I'll see ya. I'm raising my hand right now so you can kind of see there's a feature on your device. And if you can't figure out how to work your device and find that feature, a lot of people don't know where it's at, and that's okay. You can just wave your hands. You can unmute yourself. You can get my attention. All right, Pam Stampelli is going to be first. You can even text me if you need to as well. I try my best to keep an eye on my phone. Sometimes I do miss that, but let me lower my hands and let me get Pam. Pam already unmuted herself. She's a pro at this. I mean, Chris is on too. So he
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
hi, Chris.
So I have a comment to make with Chris being in the hospital and everything. Evidently, 2 days before he had his accident, he got into some altercation in Burien, and I got a letter that said that he was being charged with a 4th degree assault. And it's a gross misdemeanor. So I'm writing letters to let them know he isn't going to be able to go anywhere for quite some time. So then the Burien courthouse assigns a attorney to go to court for Chris. So he goes to court last Friday, and he tells me, he says, well, I might be able to get him off, but knowing the prosecutor, they probably won't dismiss it. So he sends me an email Friday afternoon. They pushed it out 2 months.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with whatever he did, he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Right, Chris?
Yeah. I don't remember anything.
Well, and it's a good little thing here, Pam. He was charged with that misdemeanor. If he was arrested on that day, would he be in the hospital right now? So, this is leading to all kinds of things. Like, people are going to face consequences.
Right.
But we as a society could actually help people by making them face our consequences. Before the behavior gets so out of line. But this is the deal. Back in the 80s and 90s, if you committed an assault, well, you went to jail that night.
Right.
And maybe you could have sobered up in jail. But they're not going to take anybody to jail. Doesn't matter how whacked out they are. Doesn't matter if they remember. Doesn't matter what they did. They're not going to take anyone to jail. So they're going to let him go, get back in his car, and go get in an accident. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And then the consequences become death, become injuries, people in the hospital. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So who was this officer that saw this altercation and then just said Chris was okay? He doesn't remember it. So obviously he wasn't in any kind of condition. But see, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. You know, and now we're going to get him off. Well, if you're going to get him off, then why the hell did you write the ticket in the first place? Because we need two lawyers making $500 an hour and taking all the taxpayer money. Is that why you wrote it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't write the ticket then.
Don't get arrested on it. It's sent in the mail. You can sell it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
We didn't hear that part.
No, didn't hear it.
That's the new system, is that no longer do you get arrested for anything. You know, we have a girl here and she got swindled out of $1,000. Liz got swindled out of $1,000 by some guys that made a phone call and told her that she needed to pay $1,000 to not go to jail. And it was the Kent police. And they tried to tell her. And so she did it because she was scared, and she paid him $1,000 and afterwards realized that it wasn't real, that it was a scam. And I said, well, go to the cops. Well, you go to the cops, and then I said, because here's what they're going to say. They're going to say, there's nothing we can do about it.
They did say that.
They did say that. They said, there's nothing we can do about it. And I told Liz to tell them then that she's going to begin to do that scam full time. And that's
Right.
now, because she knows there's nothing you can do about it. So we're really just going to get a phone bank right there. We're going to get a phone bank, and I got 20 kids right here. We're going to get on the phones all day and see how many people we can get send us $1,000. Let's get rid of the police. There's another good idea. I mean, so
Yeah, they had a lot of those African scams that were going around.
so if the cops openly tell people to get criminalized, that there's nothing they can do about it, that is awesome information to know as a criminal.
Right.
I mean, it's very important information. You call and your car's been breaking into. Every local police department will tell you they're not even bothering to come out. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to do something.
Right. I agree.
Do something. So, it's gotten insane. Thanks, Pam.
Yeah, thank you.
Look like Tom Hanks and Castaway over there.
Yep, feeling like it.
Where's Wilson? We'll send you the ball. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Always good to see you, Chris. So glad you're able to make it each week.
Yep.
Super cool. Thanks. All right, who's next?
I like the beard.
Yeah, growing it out. I'm looking like you now.
I'm going to spend my going to trim it up, though. You got to get trimmed up.
Yeah.
You got a vape in there?
No.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they don't allow vapes in the hospital.
How you vaping? It's like, no,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
way.
Wait, so how you vape? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a roommate in here, and
I know. That crazy little thing like them not allowing it doesn't stop you, Chris.
yeah.
All right. Who's next?
Uh,
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Who's next? Just raise your hand or unmute yourself. Any questions, comments, anything? Let's continue this conversation. It's a good one. I look forward to mom's group tomorrow too. All you moms, we can start the conversation now.
Well, it's just like I told parents this week. I said, the ideal thing for a parent is when they get an 8-year-old kid and he wants a cell phone, the answer is no, except you're going to be demonized. As a parent, you're going to be a bad parent and you'll be demonized, and you're going to have to withstand the pressure of not giving your 8-year-old a device to stare at for 20 hours a day. And you'll be called a bad person for doing that because he's going to have 10 friends that their parents gave in on it.
and you're going to be the bad guy if you don't let your kid have a computer, a cell phone, an iPad, 11 devices so that they can get through the day. And in actuality, that's what's making us sick right there. So, we're demonized health and the good things anymore. Yeah. Oh.
A couple of things while we have a little break here. If you don't get text reminders about solution groups and you want to, pop me a text so I can add you to the text reminder list. And then the second thing was, if you don't know how to find our recordings, so we have the recording here on Zoom each week, and it's uploaded by Wednesday morning. All you need to do is go to our YouTube channel. So just search Battlefield Addiction on YouTube, and there's a few different playlists on there. And there's one playlist that's public, and it's titled Solution Groups Zoom. And that's every solution group since COVID closed us down. So ever since March of 2020, there's all the solution groups since then on there available. You can go back and review, you can whatever. But I noticed a few people came on late tonight. I assume it's the weather. Don't blame you, the weather. But you'll want to, you caught halfway through a really great conversation. So you're going to want to find this recording. So you can find it on YouTube. I also post it by the end of Wednesdays. I also always post it to the private Facebook group. So if you're not already part of the private Facebook group, that's the Family's Battle. I always post it on there too. And you can always find easily the all of them from the past year there too. So a couple different places. Or if you are not tech savvy whatsoever and you don't understand anything I just said, you can simply just text me and say, can you send me the recording? And that's fine too. However I can get it to you, I will.
If you are here or you're somewhere and you find throughout your days and you find when your behavior is poor that you don't feel any guilt, or when you're self-sabotaging and you're either wrong and there's no one there, and you don't have a person, and you're not, and I feel for you. I feel for people that don't have people around them pushing them. I feel for people who don't have people around wanting better. And we call it nagging now, or we call it something. And now, instead of it being a good mom, mom's just a nag. Mom's nagging me. And we've like demonized mothers for wanting more, and fathers have just kind of, a lot of fathers I see have just given up. They've given up because maybe they've been demonized every time that they try to do anything. And my question to society in general right now, and to all of you, how do people expect other people to change? What is going to cause it? And if you look at any change that it went from you behaving very poorly to you behaving very good, and you can raise your hand and tell me if I'm wrong, but if you've went any change in your life that went from very poor to very good behavior, you've guilt motivated that change. Guilt motivated, and you can now thank somebody in your life that made you feel guilty. That person that you thought about when you did that, the person you thought about that you were letting down. And you can thank that person and say, thank you. Thank you for instilling that guilt inside of me, because if I didn't have it, I would be continuing to behave poorly. And you can tell me how we expect people to change without it. I always heard when I first got in, I truly didn't understand. It was a lot of, I dealt with a lot of people who told me that you got to get rid of that guilt. And I truly still to this day do not know what they meant. I don't know what you mean. You mean you want me to be able to behave poorly and not feel it? I don't know what you mean. Yeah.
I'll have to turn her microphone on.
Okay, Hannah's asking a question or taking a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my mom and I had this conversation the other day, and we were talking about, whether guilt was healthy, and if that was, maybe like the word would be conviction, because I know for me in my life, guilt, as an addict, it tends to like push me towards like wanting to just, maybe I feel overwhelmed or whatever it is, and I shut down, or I just like cover it with something, distraction, drugs. But when there's this, and it might be the exact same thing, it was just like thinking, okay, guilt can be unhealthy, but the healthy version of conviction or of guilt might be like conviction, where it's like you want to change that behavior, not just like doing it, feeling guilty, covering it up, being, distracting, whatever it might be. And yeah, I don't know. I know guilt and shame has it's sometimes promoted change, sometimes not, but that feeling of not wanting to have that feeling anymore was almost like transposed into like a conviction where like you don't want to live with it anymore, so you're like ready to do something different versus just cover it up.
See, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's worth making a distinction between guilt and shame. So guilt is the feeling of like, I did something bad and I don't want to do it again, versus shame is like an internalized, I am a bad person, which especially for addicts can turn into this cycle of, well, I don't want to feel like a bad person, so I'll use or I'll cover it up, versus like addressing the action itself.
Yeah, I get it. And I do see that. And I guess shame, I don't know, but I never really, I guess for me, I never really got into I'm a bad person for what I did. So I didn't understand that. But for our purposes, I'm just talking about the experience specifically of I just did that again. And I wish I wouldn't have done it. And I don't want to do this anymore. And that seems to me to be good, a good motivator. But I also don't always buy it when an addict tells me that they feel guilt and shame and that causes them to use. So I feel guilt and shame for using, so I'm going to use. I can't get next to that logic. That's very difficult for me. So you feel guilt and shame, or maybe you feel guilt and shame for something else. Maybe you did something you don't want to tell the world that you did, so you drink to cover up that. But I never buy it. I never buy that guilt leads to bad behavior. That one's tough for me. I can't see how it connects. I could see how I feel shame for something I did, and now I use drugs because of something I did. I hurt a cat. I hurt someone. I killed someone. I could see that, right? But not just specifically for I feel shame and guilt for being an addict. I don't think anyone feels shame. That's not what we did. It's something that we did that we feel guilt and shame over as an addict, and then the drug use may make us forget. But I never bought it. Like I never bought, well, we need to get rid of the guilt and the shame. I always thought, well, I did something bad. I got to own that. I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying harp on it for the rest of your life, but, say it. I think it's also worse when we don't, guilt's an also thing. Another form of that is like, I haven't told anyone what I've done. And so as a guilter, I don't want to get caught. Guy feels guilty for cheating on his wife. Does he feel guilty after he tells her? Or does he feel so guilty that he tells her? Guy feels guilty for lying. Do we feel guilty after we admit that we lied? Or are we relieved of our guilt? You feel guilty, like, yeah, but I get it. I think shame for like maybe what we did could lead to drinking and using, how we've been. But I don't think specifically over using, yeah, when you do drugs, you do crazy shit. You steal old ladies' purses and you rob people, and that probably leads to feeling shameful. Okay.
All right. The Denny's, let's get you unmuted.
There we go.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, we're sitting in a dark room trying to keep cool.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Art. So when I was in high school, I played football. And my coach had a rule, like if you were late, you had to do 100 yards of bear crawls for every minute you were late. Well, one day we were late because there was a big accident on the highway and whatever. We were 30 minutes late for practice, my brother and I. So we told him the excuse and this is what happened and all that stuff. He goes, well, that's okay. You've got, 30 times 100 yards of bear crawls, we'll be good. And he just never let us off the hook, right? And I always hated him for that because, geez, that was a really good excuse. I mean, it really happened. So, but that was just his rule, and everybody abided by it. And it didn't really matter why you were late. It just didn't matter. If you weren't at the team meeting at a certain time, you got to do the 100 yards of bear crawls, which is on your hands and feet for 100 yards. So I just wondered, like with you, wouldn't it be easier for you if you had rules? It would be a lot easier for you. You wouldn't have to decide like, okay, should I kick the person out? Should I not? What should be the punishment for this or that? You could just kind of have a list of punishments for everybody.
Yeah. One, I gotta say, I admire the man, and you already know just by hearing that story that he was most likely a good man, and that he had to live his life a certain way that leadership would respond to. Then I would also say that I deal with drug addiction and cunning, baffling, powerful, the self. Every addict, well, they're not unique in the fact that they're unlike other addicts. They are unique, and each one has a specific issue that they're dealing with different than the other one. And it really makes for a tough thing that one size does not fit all, and not even close. And it would be a monumental, I believe, I see missed opportunities, and most of our success comes with treating people different. It does. And that uniform treatment of people, it doesn't seem to produce success, and it leads to a lack of opportunity to reach people. A lot of times with addicts, you're dealing with trust and different levels of trust. So you deal with a human being that never trusts other human beings, and their first 4 mistakes are just areas that you can build trust so that you can develop a relationship to see that you're not going to turn on them. And if I didn't have that opportunity to let people make mistakes, I could never build trust. It takes me sometimes 2 years to build trust with people, for them to know, just like if you were dealing with a group of dogs and you have some dogs that are scared, and some dogs that are proud, and some dogs that shake and yap, and you have to approach each one differently. And that's what you deal with when you deal with trauma, and you deal with abandonment issues, or you deal with whatever you deal with. And so it makes it very, very difficult to enforce rules that are uniform. And you will find yourself stating the rules, and when humanity shows up, and true humanity shows up, you're left defenseless. You're left in a position where you have to see that person's journey, where they're at in the journey, and you have to see that. And then you either go too far, which you can, or you don't go far enough. So now you find yourself that you've went too far, and you've gotten to entitlement, and you have to put the brakes on, and now you're the bad guy because you've been allowing. And so that's the whole difficulty, and that's my rant tonight. That's exactly what we're dealing with. And that's every addict that comes to us, every family is unique like a snowflake. We don't recommend the same process for any family. They've all been different, and we're talking about thousands.
Yeah, true.
And each family has different pressure points and different leverage points. So your ability, let's say this, just take this as an example. You have a kid that you know damn well will kill himself. You know damn well he'll kill himself. Now you enforce the same punishment on a kid that won't. When you enforce that punishment on a kid that'll kill himself, they might go do it. And you know they're going to go do it. And they're already punishing themselves worse than you can punish them. And you can see it. And so now you see another kid
that's done something wrong, and they don't feel any remorse, and they don't have any idea that they're entitled. So now you see you have to treat those two things differently. One, the one that's entitled, you got to be able to punish and let go and say, hey, man, you got to go. But the other one, you let go, you might lose. And I've been to only like 15 to 20 funerals and missed a bunch of them. So I get to see the repercussions of what I do. I get to see it. And so I go to the funerals and then I look at the parents in the eye and I say, I wish I could have done better. I did my best, but I kicked your kid out and then he went and died and I'm sorry. And so, it's different for me. I believe it's different. And I don't see the other programs, the other programs that follow these strict rules, they don't go with the family. You don't meet the program head. You don't meet the person. The program that kicked your kid out, that program didn't work for your kid, but they don't take any responsibility at the funeral. They just say, hey, he didn't do our program. And that might be the better way. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? A lot of families come to me and they understand this. And they appreciate it because they see I'm in the whole fight. That I'm here from the time they're here until the rest of their life. And it's different. Thank you guys. You get it? See it? I mean, see what I'm saying? It's tough.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I remember I started with rules, but I had to call plumbers in because my toilets were backed up by my rules getting flushed down the toilet.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was just a village next door in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when I was in school and I would skip school, and then the school will give me the suspension for skipping school. I was like, so you're at treatment and you get high, and then the treatment center says, now go get high. It's like, okay, so a lot of more punishment for somebody that gets high is make them stay.
Yes, that's right.
But me in high school, they told me I got suspension for skipping school. I was like, thank you. 3 more days. I can't come here, really? Thank you. I didn't want to come anyways.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so imagine if the whole football team didn't want to practice. Like doing bear crawls. So you showed up, and the coach is like, you got to do bear crawls. And they're like, cool. That's these kids.
Yeah. That's right. That's true.
Whatever you try to punish them with, they'll act like they like it. So you're dealing with a population of people sometimes that are standing in front of their own house with a lighter. They're standing in front of their own house and they have a lighter and they're saying, if you do anything to me or make me change in any way, I will burn my own house down. So go ahead and punish me and I'll burn my house down. Now, what are you going to do? And they will. Go ahead and punish me, Art. I'll go get high for a week and hopefully on fentanyl and maybe die. Ew. So now you walk a line. You got to keep them with you to help you. Help them. You got to keep them alive to help them. Excuse me, not with you, but alive.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
Very well said. All right, who's next?
I love The Price is Right, though. I used to love watching that at 10 o'clock. Oh, my God.
I played so much hooky. I pretended to be sick so much. It was Price is Right, and then it was the Channel 5 soap operas. Santa Barbara, Days of Our Lives, Another World.
Oh, no. See, I was more of an ABC guy. I go, All My Children, One Life to Live, General Hospital. Yeah. I'm Laura, baby. Yeah. I do like Days of Our Lives, though. Bo and Hope.
No, oh, no, it was Cruise and Eden. Cruise and Eden all the way.
Yeah, Bo and Hope was first. Bo was a stud. Long hair.
I think Hope's still on the show. I think she's still there. I don't know. I don't know if it's still going. What?
Must be like 85 years old.
Yeah, I
She
think
was-
so. I think she died a few times, but she came back probably. I don't know. And Marlena, I don't know. Stefan,
One Life, the Buchanans.
what?
Yeah. One Life to Live had the Buchanans. Asa Buchanan. I remember it all.
That's
Chime
close.
in. Got some, yeah.
No, NBC.
You're wrong on that. It's okay. Yeah.
All right. We got 15 minutes left.
Oh, and then at 3, you know, then the yeah.
There we go. There we go.
These are the days of our lives.
All right. Sherry Pennington. Let's get you unmuted. There we go. Hey, Sherry. I love that you found a cool spot outside. Oops. There we go.
Yes, definitely found a spot outside. So
Nice.
so you're going through it there, and you're kind of like, you know, saying it's like, hey, you know, here are the lines. Do you just like sit down and kind of do okay, here's the lines, and here's the, you know, here's what happens when you don't follow the lines, right? Is it in that moment when you realize that you're being either taken advantage of, or, you know, or the person is not, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing, that you kind of just like lay it out there super factually and say, it's like, do your shit, you get this. Don't do your shit, you don't get that, right?
Yeah, generally it's not at that point here. We're at a different point. We're at a point here where they stay in the lines. That's not the problem. For us here, it's how the lines are here. And if you stay within the lines of this program, you could end up doing 3 months of nothing. You could end up, you know, really just getting by. So it's more so here, trying to push past the lines. So how far do I allow? If I say free time is from 2 to 5, and then now there's not enough productivity, so, or free time is 10 to 1 or 2 to 5, well, what are they doing in this time? And it becomes, how far do you push? And it's more of a thing that everyone knows the line and they know how to stay within it here, and they don't rock the boat. And then it's not like people are getting out of bounds just because of the leadership here. But there is a question of, hey, again, today you didn't get a job. Again, today your grades aren't up to par. Then it gets to the point of, what do you do? Again, today you're not paying attention to your life. Another wasted day on your parents' dime. So let's go. And that's what it is here. And then I don't know, how far is it me being mean? How far am I, you know, out of the question? What are they dealing with? How far am I pushing where they're dealing with recovery in their past? And then I got to figure out how to be, you know, what's the tempo? What's the thing? So with going outside the lines, every case is different. And, you know, that's where you get to the point of like, okay, somebody got high again. Somebody relapsed again. Somebody's not doing this again. Well, now what do you do? And you don't know how to be, because a lot of the kids that are here in treatment want to be out getting high. They really do. They didn't come to me on their hands and knees and say, Art, please let me into your program. I want change so bad. They got driven here.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's a new thing in treatment. You know, it used to be the client showing up with the last house on the block and saying, I got to come somewhere that I can get some help so I can get back to my family. Now it's families taking them to Walmart, filling up a bag of clothes, happily driving them here. And the client normally comes to me kicking and screaming a bit. And so now, you know, I'm faced with that. Like,
and there's biding your time.
Yeah, like your family wants you to change a lot. What do you think? You know, I mean, you know, and so, and then they go, well, I got it on. No, you don't, you know, and so a lot of times I suggest to them, what if everyone that wanted you here, your whole team, your whole family, and everyone on Solution, and everyone out of everyone's family was in our backyard right You know, there's hundreds of people. For these 20 people that are here, I can account for hundreds that want them to improve and want accountability. And then we're in this laboratory together trying to figure it the hell out, you know. And it's really it's crazy fun, but it's intense. You see, so you know, after 10 years of doing this, I don't know how to be still. You know, am I doing it? You know, what's the standard? They're not dead. You know, thank God. So yeah. Am I a success when your kid doesn't die? Well, I don't know. Or do you want him to be a corporate lawyer? I don't know. How much pressure do we want? What do we want? And society is, like I say all the time, I look at parents now and you're in an impossible situation. I think it started with don't spank. Now, I'm not saying spank your kids, but that's got to be in the rapport. That's got to be in the repertoire. There's got to be somewhere where they're scared. Instead, a kid goes, hey, you know, dad says, hey, clean your room. And he goes, Dad, Jim, you know, Jim, I don't think so, Jim. Yeah. I've looked in the parent rule book on Google and you can't require child labor. You know, I mean, it's insane. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that drugs, for me, it wasn't a question. If my parents knew I was using drugs, it automatically had to stop. It was it. Now parents know the kid's using drugs and it still doesn't have to stop. We actually hid it from our parents. Don't you remember? If you smoked weed, you didn't leave your pipe laying in your top drawer. You actually went and buried that thing in the yard. You were worried about getting caught. These kids are like, Mom, why are you messing with me over a little weed? It's like, dude, your brain hasn't developed yet. And you're turning it into mush. And then society says you're bad if you if you actually do something about it. You know, because all the parents' kids, we did a lot of work with parents out in Vine Lake, and like 15 different sets of parents coming to us saying my kid is like addicted to weed and they're all doing it. And they're all 15. Dude, my friend's dad would have beat my ass. And my parents would have said, thank you. If my friend's dad found me with weed, he would have beat my ass. There was fear. We were feared accountability. We feared consequences. It was good. It was a good time. You know, you knew it. You got to work on time every day. You didn't call in sick because, geez, you knew you were going to get fired if you did. Not anymore. Everyone, sick leave was stored for years. My dad retired with all his sick leave. Now it's like, oh, I got to take my sick leave. It's okay. No consequences. What are the consequences? Anyone you know have any consequences right now? Anyone? Anyone going through a court case? Anyone doing anything? Any consequences at all? None. Just do what you want. And the only people not committing crimes are the people that are still scared from before. You know, go steal whatever you want at Safeway. Go steal a TV. Why would you pay for a TV? You can go into Best Buy, put one on the cart, and walk out. Yes, it's nonsense, guys. Just so you know, everyone on here, you can steal anything you want. It is totally okay. In fact, we should start doing it because maybe it'll stop. I was at Safeway, right across from the big house, 10:30 at night. They closed at 11. The lady came onto the mic, and I shit you not, she said this. Please get done stealing anything you have to steal. We are closing.
Yeah.
I was at the store.
Did you steal anything?
No,
Oh,
but I did. I do have a confession to make. I got so frustrated with all the theft that the day of the auction 2 years ago was the day of the auction. Me and Jordan, were, what was that store? Cole XL or something? No. I was at the Big and Tall store because that's the only place that can sell me a suit anymore. And so I was at the Big and Tall store and I was buying a suit and I got to the counter and I had this shirt in my hand and it was like $45.
And I looked and I waited in line already once, and now I'm in the line for the second time. And the guy was already rude to me. And he told me, he like treated me like shit because he told me to get off the phone when I was in line. And I said, dude, I'm a customer. I'm on my phone. Deal with it. And so I was already pissed. So I'm standing there with this brand new shirt. It was $45. And I looked at Jordan and I said, I'm stealing it. And I just did. I just grabbed the shirt and I just stole it. I put it up above the thing and I just walked out. And I said, I'm taking it. They ain't gonna do nothing about it. And then I had this vision. I was like gonna be standing on the stage of the auction and the police were gonna come in and arrest me in a stolen shirt. Yes. So I didn't go back, but I talked about going back, you know, but I stole it. You know what? Stop me, please. You know? Why do we pay property taxes when we can live in the Walmart parking lot for free? Let's stop paying property taxes. Let's go live at the Walmart for free. It's free to live there. Yeah, you can camp there and live there. It's okay. Well, why am I paying? Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe we need to do it as an example. Anyone else, Ange?
No, I don't think so. We have 4 minutes left, so we would have time for one more if there's anybody.
Who disagrees with me? I don't know. I want to hear somebody disagrees. If you disagree, I get it. I'm open to it. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems crazy to me, but maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I'm not open. I'm not closed down to the possibility. I'm just trying to figure out how to get people to change. There's some facts. People want to improve. People bring people to me to improve. Well, what do you want? What do we do? And that's what I'm working on. How do you be a change agent? What causes change? What is the things that forces change? What is the things that makes a human being change? What inspires change? So that's what I talk about and think about. Because I want to inspire change. I want to inspire improvement. So, you know, and I just see if I say, you guys do what you want, it just doesn't work. You know, do what you want, go to bed when you want, leave your dishes if you'd like. Don't clean up. Make your bed is optional. Sleep in the backyard. Shit anywhere you like. Yeah, I'll clean it up. Well, that's what they do. You just shit down in Seattle and some schmuck comes and cleans it up. It's awesome. And the person that's taking the dump knows that the schmuck's going to clean it up.
Oh, there we go.
All right, we've got Angela. Hi, Angela. Let's, yep, you're unmuted.
Hi. I'm not disagreeing with you, Art, but I wanted to throw this one at you, and you can tell me if you feel like that's punishment or whatever. My son did get a DUI last August in Morgantown, in college town. He blew a .09. Court wasn't for, oh gosh, till February. So I was at like 6 months, which I don't know if that had to do with COVID or what, but you know, he did go to court. He refused to do the deferral program, which would have been the interlock in the car for, I don't know how long, but in order for him, and he refused to do that. So he is his license is suspended. In order for him to get it back, he's going to take a minimum of 90-day suspension. He's got to do the drug and alcohol class, pay the fines or reinstatement. All that has to be done. His license was suspended as of April 28th, and he's got till August to pay his fines. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know. I had a DUI when I was 21 years old. I had to do 3 days in the Oriana house. You know, it was many, many years ago. I feel like it is punishment, but is it strict enough punishment? I don't know. What do you think?
Like I said, I don't know, you know, and like I said, I'm not a huge punisher, and I don't, you know, I don't like to do it because I like to help people change, but the courts aren't there for change.
Right.
I don't think, I think that's what the problem lies is that the court isn't there to change people. The court was there to enforce the law. But there's a law. What's the law? They're not having, they shouldn't deal with a crime is a crime is a crime. Well, what is the punishment for that crime? That's the job.
Right.
But when they start changing that, or then and how it worked was the court was this leverage point. So somebody would go to court and they would go, "Hey, Art, I'm in big trouble unless I get help from my alcoholism. I'm in big trouble." And this was a good system because it forced them to come to me to get help. And I'm better. I like helping people better than punishment. But that, like I said about spanking kids, you know, my dad spanked me one time when I was 5 years old. I remember it to this day. I was out in the backyard and I was starting fires with twigs. And I had matches and I went out there and I wanted to start a little campfire for myself. And he saw that as very detrimental behavior to our house and our property. So he whooped my ass real good one time and it hurt. And I still remember that. From then on, all he had to do was look at me. That's all he had to do. It was just a look, like, you know what's coming if you do that again, son.
Right.
And he didn't beat me. He didn't do that all the time. He loved me. I wasn't scorned, thinking that I was traumatized. I knew I did wrong and I knew I deserved it. And it was fair and just. And, you know, from that, it helped. So when we've removed any threat of punishment, and it's not the punishment that helps people, it's the threat of it. It's knowing it could be there. You know, imagine if there wasn't, like Louis C.K., a great comedian. He has a great bit about what would happen if there was no punishment for murder. He's like, everybody would do murder sometimes. You know, I mean, you know, like if there's no punishment, then we've all had somebody that we like just, and he said, so what you do is, he goes, it would just be like, I mean, parents killing their own kids, you know, like, you know,
Right.
I mean, that's serious. Like, you know, I mean, the biggest thing that everyone knows, they can't commit murder because there's a threat of doing life in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know all the psychology behind it. I'm not perfect at it, but I do know that I used to do this, that what the meat of this topic was tonight was, this is another thing that's making recovery difficult. It's another thing that's making change difficult, you know, coupled with no consequences, coupled with entitlement, coupled with distraction, coupled with a free, like, flowing amount of drugs that you can walk on any street corner and get high. It's making these guys, I'm looking at their recovery and I'm going, Jesus, I don't know if I could have made it having it set up like this. Yeah. No one holding you accountable, no courts, nothing. And I know why everyone that I know got sober. Someone was holding them accountable. They were in the threat of punishment. They had to do it.
Yeah.
And that's gone. That's gone. Families have become in the know about addiction and now have classified it as okay, I guess. Not okay, but forgivable. When I think and look at my parents, because drug use was unforgivable. It was just not allowed. If they found that I was doing crack cocaine or heroin, it stops tonight. Where are you? You're coming home right now. We're not going to allow you to be out doing drugs. Not happening. And I went, yeah. And the only time, and I came home because they told me I had to because I was doing drugs. Nowadays, somebody calls me, yeah, Mom, I'm doing heroin. Yeah, fuck, stay away.
Yeah.
And that's now okay.
Right.
Because society says everyone just do it and lay around with a needle out of your arm, throw that needle on the ground. It's okay. And if your parents are mad at you, come to our camp and live in the park with us and just do drugs. And some hero will bring you some food and a blanket and some clean needles. And so you're, as parents, are sitting here having to kick your own family member out because they won't stop using drugs. And there's this other great place right over here that they can go and do drugs. And people think this is going to work. It ain't going to work. These guys aren't going to be able to stay sober. You're killing the addicts.
Right.
You're killing them with what your so-called compassion is. It ain't compassion. It's heroism. It's thinking that you're superior and that they're marginalized. No, they're smarter than you.
Almost every drug addict I know is smarter than their family. Really, they're not marginalized. They're brilliant. They know exactly what they're doing. They know it's wrong. They know what they're doing. They know they're manipulating. And people are trying to protect that. People are saying, don't tell them they're wrong. It's okay. They got a disease. And the people that are saying that aren't drug addicts themselves.
Right.
They've never been a drug addict. They're the defender. Sympathizers. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know, whether that's punishment enough or too much. At least it's something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're not just saying drink and drive. It's great.
Right.
I mean, your kid gets, at this point, your kid gets killed by a drunk driver. Do you want the judge to go, there's nothing we can do?
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't punish drinking and driving anymore.
Right.
So the guy's on heroin, he nods off, he kills your entire family, and then the judge goes, sorry, he's a marginalized individual on heroin. It's okay. Just let him be. We're going to put him in treatment for the next 10 years in and out as he, whatever. A crime is a crime is a crime, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If somebody steals my bike, I don't care if they're on heroin or not, my bike's gone. And I paid for that bike. And I need somebody to protect me. And that's coming from an ex-bike thief. So.
All right.
Thank you.
What's up?
Are we close?
Yeah, it's time to close up.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I did enough tonight, but that, that's it. I invite you to look at this idea, and I'm talking about a society. I'm talking about everything, and I'm giving you parents a little forgiveness or a little bit of empathy or whatever you call it, and a thing that's saying, as a society, we're making change impossible. We're making it impossible for people to change. We're entitling people to chance after chance after chance. We're making any change have a shortcut to it, so it's not hard. Any change, whether it's, you want your face to look younger, well, don't eat right and work out, just get surgery. You want to lose weight, just get surgery or take a pill. You want to stay sober, just take a drug and you'll be sober somehow. And we're making everything, people entitled to everything. There's nothing left to work for. You want money? Just create a little internet company that raises or get big on social media and people will just send you money in the mail. It don't happen. Sorry. So now we got 9,000 people trying to be an internet star and one makes it.
Stock traders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, just do crypto and start, change is hard. That's why they call it change. Somebody who has actually lived a life. In this world, I've gotten to live two lives. I've gotten to live the life of a liar, a drug addict, and a thief. And somebody that had no friends and no career and no place to go. And I've got to live this other great life. This life where I help people and I'm an advantage in society and I use my liabilities as assets. And it was hard. There was no shortcut. And I love life because of that change. And what caused the change was everything else but me. It was perfect circumstances. It was people holding me accountable at the right time for the right things. It was punishments and consequences that I didn't want anymore. It was massive rushes of guilt and awakenings that I was hurting people and I can't do it anymore. And I needed everything to happen for me to change. I needed all of it. None of it was me. It was all circumstantial. It was all outside of me. And the guilt was driven in by people that loved me. The guilt, the feeling of that. The foundation of knowing that from 7 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, you better work, son. That is not time for vacation. It's not time for breaks. It's no days off. Saturday and Sunday are the days off. Maybe even just Sunday. Now go to work. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for what you did. Thank you to my mother. Thank you to my family.
Thank you to society. Thank you for probation. Thank you to the judge. Thank you to the police that pulled me over in my 2 DUIs. Thank you for not letting me die, but instead stopping me. And I hope that you guys ask for it too, because you're going to look back, and after you say I've changed my life, it'll be because of those things I just mentioned. So thank you. See you all next week.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night. See you next week.